Hello, Kelly Cougars, and welcome to your online library classroom. Before we get started with our lesson, I want to start by acknowledging and thanking all of the Kelly Cougar families who returned their library book bags last week for the first time with all 7 books inside and picked up a brand new bag of books to borrow for another 2 weeks. Looking ahead, if your last name begins with the letter N through Z, your first opportunity to return books and pick up a new bag is Monday, 1 to 4 p.m. Just a reminder, Wednesday is Veterans Day, so unfortunately, there will only be one chance to return and pick up library book bags at Kelly this week. There will be no library checkout on Wednesday. Let's start our lesson. Looking back to last week, we learned about different book genres. I introduced a bunch of different book genres to you, and I shared a survey. I am still hopeful that there will be lots of you who complete this survey this week, and if your library class is on Friday, I know that you did not have library lessons on Friday. I still sent that video out. If you didn't go on Seesaw on Friday, open your Seesaw, watch the library video that was sent last Friday and this one. This library video is going to be much shorter and a quick review with a short activity at the end. We're going to talk about something called genre sampling. First, let's do a quick review of the different genres that you are able to find in your library book bags and that I will be asking you to look for in your home. We're going to start off by talking about the difference between fiction and nonfiction. Fiction is a book that tells a story using characters and events that are imagined by the author. These books usually have many pages, few, if any, pictures, and are divided into multiple chapters. In last week's video, I showed you an example for every genre. I showed you an example of a real book. Make sure that you watch last week's video if you haven't already. Nonfiction. A book that uses facts and real photographs to present information about a topic. See if you can find the table of contents, index, and glossary that is present in most of these books. I go over all of those details in our last video. This is just a refresher. Fiction and nonfiction. And then we talked about these different categories. Diverse, a book that celebrates LGBTQIA, people with disabilities, and people of color, and feature their unique culture, race, religion, language, abilities, identities, and traditions. Biography, a book that tells a true story of someone else's life. An autobiography is a special kind of biography where the author writes about their own life. Everybody Picture Book, a book written for children that uses pictures and words to tell a make-believe or a true story. Graphic novel, a book that is in a comic format. The content is usually presented in squares and has plenty of pictures and uses talking bubbles to display or show thoughts. Beginning chapter book. A simple, short story divided into multiple sections called chapters. These stories usually include pictures and are designed to help you build reading stamina. And world language, a book that is written in another language, or a bilingual book written in 2 languages. Most of the time you'll see English on one side and the other language on the other side. If you're in the Russian immersion program, you can expect to see at least 2 books in Russian language in your library book bags. This week, I would like you to do a genre book sampling. A book sampling is when you read 5% or 1 chapter of a book to decide if it's just right for you. There's a lot of ways to decide if a book is just right for you. We talked about the 5-finger rule. We talked about deciding if you like the book. And part of deciding if you like a book is getting to know what kind of genres you like. It helps you pick books faster. And what we're going to do this week is I want all of you to do a genre sampling. If you have the library book bag, you have at least 7 books in that bag. I would like you to read 5% or 1 chapter of all of the books. On this handout, which is going to be attached to the Seesaw activity, you are asked to write the title of the book in the pizza slice genre that it belongs to. Remember, a book can belong to more than one genre. So if I'm reading a book, let's say I'm reading a book of poetry, I will write the title of that book of poetry in the poetry pie space right here. Maybe that book of poetry is about poetry relating to fairy tales. So if all of the poems are about fairy tales, I'm also going to write it in the fairy tale pizza slice. That's one book that belongs to two genres. I'd like you to do 7 book samplings. Find 7 books, read 5% or 1 chapter of them, and write their title in all of the pizza slices that it belongs to, all of the genres that it belongs to. Make sure, if you haven't already, to take the survey from last week. I'm going to post it again in this activity. I look forward to seeing all of your survey responses and your genre sampling wheels. Until next time, Kelly Cougars.